Welcome. Welcome, 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 welcome.
Welcome.
Oh, man. Hold on. Oh, whew. I forgot to mute my... I don't know what you call it. My preview, so I can see how the stream's looking. I forgot to mute that. Whoops. Alright. Well, now that I've had the most professional opening you could ever imagine, welcome to the Saturday stream, guys. You don't got a lot going on today. We're doing commissions. I'm gonna ink this piece. I'm going to try to get the flats in, maybe even the finished colors. And if I'm super efficient, we'll come over to here. Oh no, that was from Thursday. Over here, and we'll get this piece colored. So, we'll see how efficient I am today. So, as always, while I'm working, I'll be chatting with you guys and enjoying your company. And if you have any questions for me, it doesn't even have to be art related. If you want to know my favorite superhero or whatever, I will happily chat with you guys while I'm streaming. So, how... Nope, I forgot to turn on music for myself. Oh, I can do it from here. So I'm working on a couple of original characters here. This is Sasha versus, and this guy is Dr. Teal. Your original characters that I was commissioned to draw. And that's what I'm working on now. Adjust this. It's a little bit better. So how's everyone doing this Saturday? Anyone doing anything fun? I'm obviously streaming. I always like working with hair. I always like just doing the streaks of lines, just letting my pen or my stylus just flow across the page to get these nice, wispy, natural flowing strands of hair. It's very zen-like for me. Doing here. It's looking pretty good. Before we get too far into this though, I've never been a fan of these just really flat black, unless it's supposed to have a flat graphic look to it. You know, something like, you know, Mike Mignola's Hellboy's work or something like that. But I always like to put some kind of texture inside even a black shadow, just to keep it from looking too flat. You know, the heavy black shadows are very dynamic looking, but for my money, they're useless if they are flattening out the piece. Better? I also like doing textured objects like the rock gauntlet over here. I could really vary up my line weight and really be kind of loose and messy with it. And it'll feel more organic that way. I just think that's, not only does it look good, but it's fun to draw. You guys can see I'm being kind of rough with the line work here a little bit, but it kind of helps the rock gauntlet look rough. Who would have thunk? Who would have thunk it? sometimes I have to stop myself from going too crazy with the line art, because I am such a sucker for line art and line work that sometimes I'll end up doing a lot of lines that look fantastic, but once I put in all the color, it either fights the color or it's not even really noticeable with the color, and I kind of end up wasting my time. I think that'll do just nicely. Adds a good texture. It's looking pretty good so far, I think. I really like this gauntlet. Let's finish it. How are we doing this Saturday? Anyone up to anything fun? Next week, unfortunately, I'm not going to be streaming. I say unfortunately, it's not unfortunate. Next week, I'm going to be in Raleigh, North Carolina, for anime con called Animazement, and I am very excited for it. But since I'm going to be at the con Saturday, I will not be streaming next Saturday, unless I can figure out some crazy way to stream from my phone and get my phone all set up to draw my commissions and stuff. But I don't think that will be a very interesting stream. Never mind a con, it's always one distraction after another. Which is fine. I love talking to people at cons and talking about nerdy stuff and just art in general. Love it. But that probably isn't going to make very interesting viewing for you guys. Or people not at the con and trying to watch me on stream, just watch me draw and then stop drawing for 20 minutes while I talk to someone. Not exactly riveting TV. Almost done with Sasha here. She's looking pretty good. Too thick. What do I got left here? We gotta get her face, her hand. I think that's it for her. Maybe some shadowing, some drop shadows. And we'll get to Dr. T. Gotta have my coffee. I know it's a very cliche thing. Oh, don't even talk to me till I've had my coffee. You can talk to me before I have my coffee. I usually don't have my coffee. Most people have it first thing in the morning. I usually have my coffee in the afternoon. I usually get up and do a bunch of stuff. And by early afternoon, I'm tired. So it's at that point I need my coffee. Gotta make sure I keep her eyes. I need to keep them round-ish, but I need to make sure she's still really showing that angry, determined look in her face. I don't know if adding the gum line there is going to be too much. Sometimes if you draw the individual teeth or the gum line, that might make a character look creepy. Now, if you want a creepy look, then yeah, go for it. But sometimes you don't want that creepy look. You just want to show the teeth are really gritting. So if I add the gum line there, it just makes her look a little more feral. I don't really want that. So I think I'll just add the little teeth. Just to show that she's kind of really gritting her teeth really intense. Alright. So we're going to... Now, even though I penciled the pupils, I think I'm going to leave them blank in terms of line art. I think I'm going to handle the irises and all that detail with color. Good. All right. Shadows. It's always tough when I want to just paint bucket in shadows because I use this brush that has these rough edges that looks really good for lines, but then when I try to paint bucket in, you see this little halo that's kind of happens here, so I gotta kind of go in. That's not necessarily a big deal, especially if I'm going to be coloring, and especially if I'm going to be coloring with dark colors, but I kind of want that to be at least solid on the inside there. It can be rough on the outside, but I want that black to be solid on the inside. Alright. Let's give it a save. We don't want to lose any of this. Alright. What are we doing here? Alright. Let's get this hand drawn. Probably do both these hands at the same time. Might as well, right? You know, hands are tough enough as they are, but to draw two hands kind of intertwined, that is a nuisance. Which is why I am so cruel to make everyone, all of my students, when we practice drawing hands, I always make them draw hands intertwined, like hands holding other hands, because they're tough. You gotta practice them. So how many of you guys watching are artists? And I don't want you guys to be modest. If you draw, I don't care how good or bad you think you are. If you draw, if you create, you're an artist. Excuse me. So, alright, I think I'm calling Sasha done here. Let's see. Or at least for the inks, I'm calling her done. Let's get her in frame. Take out the blue line. Alright, I think that looks pretty good. Let's add just a couple small details just to kind of help bring out the volume here. So kind of a little bit of a line here next to her satchel strap here. A little bit of a drop shadow underneath the pocket, because we gotta get that going there. The whole point of all of this is like going through with the line art and adding a couple detail lines here and there is you don't want your piece to feel flat. It seems to be the theme today. Don't let your art be flat. Unless, of course, that's what you're going for. So you want to like thicken up the line weight where it's making contact with other objects. Good. Signature. All right. I think this is coming out quite well. So now, Dr. Teal. I feel like he definitely has this mad scientist look to him. And so I always kind of think of him having kind of a high squeaky voice. I don't know if that's actually what he has. I've not talked to the person who created this character. I don't know what he sounds like, but just the way he has that big maniacal grin and the glasses, it reminds me a bit of Judge Doom from Roger Rabbit. So because he has that since he's reminding me of Judge Doom, I'm imagining Judge Doom's high squeaky voice. Although admittedly, most of the movie he just speaks with Christopher Lloyd's normal voice, but I don't know, I just imagine that evil mad scientist squeaky kind of voice. I'm sure it's not that though. Sure, if the client's watching, be like, no, it's not what he sounds like. So I'm sorry if that's not what he sounds like and I'm giving the wrong impression. So I love, another thing I like drawing beyond hair is, or more accurately, inking, beyond hair is I like doing shiny segmented metal. I'll show you why in a sec here. What I like doing, I like kind of like inking it all black, just kind of like how you see I'm doing here. Drawing in all the shine, all the lines, everything that's going to be kind of depict the shine and contrast in the metal. And then the reason I like segmented metal so much is then I can go in with my transparency over here, and I can go in and make a cut on each segment. By cutting into those flat blacks, not only does it prevent the metal from looking too flat, but it kind of helps show how light reflects on each of those segments. It's a quiet day today. Something going on? Are there other events happening today that I'm not aware of? Should I not be streaming today? Should I be watching someone else's stream? Am I missing out? It's all coming together. It's coming together. Well, once we get Teal done over here, Dr. Teal, we can start doing the getting the colors thrown in. Now, one of the fun things, since this is very comic booky, I think for colors, I think I'm going to stick with very comic booky greens and purples for the background. It's not going to be flat colors like you would see in a comic book, or like a classic comic book, I should say. But what I'll definitely have, though, is maybe I hesitate to say monochromatic, because it definitely won't be monochromatic, but it won't be a fully colored background. It'll be a very limited color palette background, mostly because one, I think it's going to create a cool environment, really cool vibe to the fight here. Two, it'll not distract from the characters. You know, these characters are going to be pretty colorful, and if the background's also colorful, they're going to fight each other. So you want the foreground to really stand out. So a very limited color palette for the background's going to really help that happen. But we'll get to that in a sec. I have an inkling once I get coloring, things will be a little less quiet around here. People really like color. And I get it. Despite my biases and how I prefer black and white art. I get why everyone likes color. Let's give it a save. Swap out the music. Let's see. I haven't listened to Protest the Hero anymore. Just in case you're wondering, no, the music I'm listening to is not the music you hear. I don't want the replay muted. I want you guys to be able to hear what I'm saying. So the music I hear is different than the Creative Commons music you're listening to. Hey, Sideways is here. How are you doing, Sideways? You're here on a relatively quiet day. Working on some D&D stuff for tomorrow. Is it going to involve Rain and his wife tomorrow? Is that what you're working on? Is it more backstory? Sweet! I'm very excited for it. Lily and I were talking about speculating on all the possibilities. We're excited to see what happens. Yeah, I'm excited too. It's always tough when you're crafting a story because you want to create some compelling, maybe surprising stuff for a character, but at the same time you don't want to, like take a character away from the player who created them. You don't want to say, well, you came up with this whole backstory, but too bad I've crafted a new real backstory for your character. So obviously you don't ever want to do that, but at the same time you want to be able to throw little curveballs for the players. So that's why I'm really excited to see what happens, because I know you and Seth will work it out quite nicely, and it's gonna be fun. do Dr. Teal's face here, because it's bothering me to be have him all faceless. I'm almost out of coffee, too. The shadows on his body here, and then we'll okay. I'm not chatting a lot. Hope you guys don't mind. I'm just focusing on the drawing. But with that being said, I will happily chat with you guys about anything. Doesn't have to be about drawing, although I do love talking about drawing in comics. But if you guys want to talk about season 5 or 6 of Game of Thrones, because that's as far as I'm caught up to. Everyone is talking about this last season, all the stuff happening. Meanwhile, I'm over here with I'm over here in season 6. Going, oh man, I hope Tyrion doesn't get grayscale. pretty sure that was 4 years ago that season came out. So I'm a little behind. You know what, though? One thing I didn't take into account is if this arm is raised, that means abs are going to be at a slightly different angle here. That's close, right? Just make up my own ending. You know, I have been seeing a lot of people are very displeased with how things are happening in the final season. And that's totally legit. You know, you can not like how things are going, not like how things are ending. When I saw there was a petition for Game of Thrones to remake this season without knowing exactly how it ends, it just seemed crazy to me. And even if it does have a bad ending or just generally an ending that you don't like, it's not your story, guys. You don't have any right to tell the Game of Thrones people that it's that they should remake it. It's fine if you don't like it. You have every right not to like it. There's a lot of things, a lot of stories that I like the story itself, but the ending kind of ruined it for me. And that's legit. You know, you don't have to like everything. But you don't have any right to tell the creators to remake it because you didn't like it. It's crazy to me. Yeah, need to get a hobby and a life. I agree. It's the same thing with the Star Wars last year, the Last Jedi. So many people hated it, and there's like a petition to remake it, or GoFundMe to like fund a remake or something like that. And it's fine, guys, that you didn't like it. You don't have to like it, but you can't tell people to remake it because you didn't like it. They don't care. They don't care that you don't like it. Now, Star Wars might care a little bit that you don't like it, because they want to make sure they keep making billions of dollars every time a new movie comes out. But Game of Thrones doesn't care if you don't like it. They're done. It's already filmed. You know, bad ratings isn't going to get the show canceled, it's already canceled. So bottom line, no one really cares if you don't like the last Game of Thrones. So they have no reason to remake it for you. Or maybe it's a secret plot. They're making the last season not as good, and they're not wrapping up, important storylines because they want to now have a Game of Thrones movie that everyone will go see. That'll wrap up all the storylines that the show didn't wrap up by Sunday's episode. Oh, that's tomorrow. Wow. Okay. Time flies. But yeah, maybe that's their secret plot to get people into to go see the movie. Of course, I'm speculating. I didn't hear any news about a movie, but it makes sense to me. But again, I'm way behind. I'm in season 6. 5? 5 or 6. So how's everyone doing on this Saturday? Hey, Tripodanos is here. You should recognize this piece. Definitely don't, huh? And who am I drawing this for? Oh, Tripodanos, are you going to be at Animazement next week? Yeah, I noticed I haven't seen you there the last couple years. So, I was wondering if you were going to make it to this one. Yeah, I was at SuperCon last year. It was a a lot. I noticed a lot of the fans at SuperCon are they usually have a great time. But personally, I don't like that con just because I don't know. I feel like they're very exploitive of the fans. Like they bring in all these celebrities like Tim Curry and all that, but they bring them from all over the place, not just movies, but anime and games and all sorts of internet celebrities, everyone across the board. And then they sell you VIP tickets, and then they have like speed pass tickets, so you get to see everyone. Oh, you've only gone to Animazement? I much prefer Animazement personally, because it's much more about it's very fan driven, where the con really tries to bring in everyone for the fans, and they don't seem to really exploit the fans. Like, you get a ticket to get in, and that's it. Like, that's all you have to pay for. Sure, you have to wait in lines and stuff like that. Yeah, like stuff like that. It's a good. You got to meet Frieza. Like that's super cool. Like at SuperCon, from what I saw, because I was at my table most of the time, but from what I saw is very long lines for all the celebrities, and those lines were made longer for normal people because the fast pass and the VIP ticket holders got preferential treatment. In Animazement, everyone is treated the same. You know, you get a ticket, you wait in line to, meet the people you like. And I don't know, I just think that's a fair way to do it. It feels like SuperCon kind of exploits people's fandom, where people want to meet these people so bad they'll pay extra money to the con for early access or speedy access. I don't know. People who do it obviously don't mind, but to me that feels, I don't know, a little slimeball-y. That's my opinion. It's so small, it's in a bowling alley. Oh, what kind of con is that? The Crystal Coast Con. Is it just like general anime, or... mostly sci-fi? That sounds fun. I haven't been to a pure sci-fi con in ages. I think the last sci-fi con I went to was a Star Trek con when I was 15, maybe? Oh no, that's awful. They couldn't find another location? Or was it put on by the bowling alley? It was hosted... So, like, the convention organizers were all part of the bowling alley? Ah, I see. That tracks. Let's see how this is coming out. Hey, I think this is looking pretty good. Sure, why not? I mean, if it's that small of a con, it might not be worth the trip for me. Because if it's outside the Georgia area, it gets expensive for like one-day small cons. But I'll definitely look at it. I'm still interested. I'm glad you shared. I always like at least looking at different cons, even if I can't make it to them. on the LARPing group, I don't think that's something I could ever do. I mean, I play D&D, so I know it's not too dissimilar from that. It's practically just a step away, but I think I would be too self-conscious, even if I was with close friends. What do you think, Sideways? Do you want to start a LARPing group? You have a glaive that's actually a spoon. That's pretty funny. Yeah, no, I've seen like some LARPing. It looks like everyone has a great time. And the teacups on. That's pretty funny. I like that. It's very creative. But yeah, I don't know if it's for me, though, as fun as it looks. Just because I am a self-conscious nerd that it's hard enough for me to just talk to people in real life, let alone basically play real life pretend with other people. Oh, no magic. Interesting. Now, actually, you can answer a question for me. I know every game's a little bit different, but I've always wondered, like when I play D&D or even like video games, it's usually, the RPG is usually turn-based. I guess in some video games it's action-based. But I always wonder, how does that work with LARPing? Because I'm sure there's stats involved, and it's not purely up to the player's physical abilities. So how does combat work? Do you guys have to like roll dice? Do you ever watch role models? No, I can't say I have. Almost there. I don't even think I've heard of the movie Role Models. Move and attack whenever. Okay. figure there's always some kind of honor system, because even when you play D&D, you know, unless the DM is going to be kind of looking over your shoulder at every dice roll you do, kind of just honor system that whatever your dice rolls are is the proper what actually was rolled. Two types of weapons can hit the head and neck. Okay. So it does rely on the physical skills of the player then. Alright. So, armored... Actually, there is armor. That's good. Now, is Rhino Hide an actual, like, armor class or something, or is it just people who deny that they've been hit? Interesting. So then how do arrows work then? Are you actually shooting like Nerf arrows at people? Oh, so it's actual arrows. Okay. Or actual bows. Interesting. Ah. White as rocks. Okay, cool. Wow. What kind of weapon would be a black type weapon? So it could be anything. So the referee could just say, this magical sword is, you know, black damage. Ah, okay. Interesting. Interesting. There's a lot to that. I guess there would have to be. Oh, really? And one of the bad things about having a table animazement is the fact that it can't go do all the fun things that are at animazement. I mean, I went to that con for years before I started tabling there, just because it was so much fun. And it became a very successful con for me, so I just kept going back as a table, but I got to miss out on all the fun stuff there. Alright, I might go check them out then. Save. I think this is coming out rather well. Change this to a small food place behind the Marriott. Okay, I'll go take a peek for them. I'm often pretty exhausted after a day at the condo, so I'm not sure if, how long I'd stay, but I'll at least go check them out. You like the tubes in the... Oh, sorry. I reread your message like 3 times because I wasn't quite sure what you were talking about. But are you talking about like the background tubes, like in the lab? Oh, this kind of like, it's like, yeah, this containment. I guess that's the best way to put it, huh? I was thinking of it as some kind of like bio vat. Something's growing in there. I don't know what, but something is. So what do you guys think? I changed up my my page layout a little bit today for today's stream. I still have Sideways up here as the boss. His HP is only 900, so not too long to take him down. But then I kind of changed on the right-hand side, kind of rotating comic book pages, and then a little glass on the right-hand side here with the bits and the follows and the subscriptions in there. So, trying something a little bit different today. Ah, good. I think it looks good. I'll probably change it up a few times over the next, several weeks, just to kind of see what I like best. What people like best. So I kind of... The streams that I watch, and I don't watch a ton, I'm still new to this whole thing. I always like there's something interactive on the screen. That's why I like that boss life bar so much. I like the little glass there where things will get dropped in as I get followers and subscriptions and stuff like that. So I don't know. I think that's kind of fun. So I like to want to include that sort of thing. Ah, so you're gonna have one of your characters pop out of this. So I accidentally guessed part of your story. Oh yeah, you're Sideways. You were wondering what the glass was. Yeah, so as people donate, if they cheer bits, or if they follow me, or if they subscribe to me, you'll see these little things, tokens, that kind of fall out of the sky, I guess, for lack of a better term, and fall into the glass. Like I said, I thought it'd be kind of a fun thing to add to the stream. I like having the interactive stuff. At least I think it's cool. Ah, it keeps coming back. Kind of like a combination of my brain just went blank. Kind of like the androids in Dragon Ball, and I don't know what else that'd be crossed with, because they don't have new bodies. Just 16 got rebuilt exactly the way he looked, so... I guess it'd be crossed kind of with Doctor who has a new body every time. Feel inspired by Robotnik? That tracks. I think every creation has multiple sources of inspiration. nothing's 100% original. At the same time, anything that's original didn't come from one source of inspiration. Oops. Yeah, I'm with you. That grin and that goggles definitely scream Robotnik, or at least have the shadow hinting of Robotnik. Let's find the right pixels. There we go. Yeah, that's kind of the funny thing about inspiration is we're not always conscious of it. Like my character Cerberus, I think every con I go to, someone tells me how he looks like Optimus Prime, and I can't deny that he has that look. That he does have some similarities to Optimus Prime, especially since he's big and blue. But that definitely was not a conscious decision. Like, the conscious decisions were more of taken from Iceman from the X-Men, and having the hair kind of popping out from the 90s Cyclops. A lot of X-Men influence. The big boots from Mega Man. Those were all conscious inspirations. But I was not consciously thinking of Optimus Prime. But clearly he was in there somewhere, because everyone's like, hey, he looks like Optimus Prime. And they didn't even notice it until someone pointed it out to me. So yeah, sometimes the inspiration is somewhere in your head, even if you're not conscious of what that inspiration was. This is coming out pretty good. I really like the black. It really adds a really dynamic feel to the piece. Plus, having the lower parts than the leg and dark black shadow kind of helps anchor the piece. It gives like a sort of a weight to the bottom, and really helps them kind of feel like they're really anchored onto the ground. Yeah. Now I have some limitations. I only have a PS4 that I can stream from, video game wise. So there's a bunch of games I know out there that a lot of people like streaming that are either PC only or they're Xbox only. So those games are not too good for streaming for me, because I don't have either of those. what genre? My favorite genre is definitely the RPG genres. I usually I'm not a huge fan of fighters, but Dragon Ball Fighters, I love that game, and Smash I'm a fan of, but again, streaming wise, Smash wouldn't really work. Uh, don't have the equipment for that to stream off the Switch. Let's see, what other genres do I like? I like run and gun genres, kind of like Mega Man. I'm terrible at them. I'm really terrible at them, but that doesn't mean I don't like them. That's pretty much it. Yeah, all my time, the few little bit of gaming I do have time for is usually run and gun, fighting, or RPG. With some exceptions in there, like Spider-Man. Like, I played the crap out of Spider-Man. And even though I've beaten it, gotten 100% in it, like, I want to go back and play it some more because it's just such a good game. I have Cuphead for the Switch. Unless they've recently released it for the PlayStation, I won't be able to stream that. I know they were a Microsoft exclusive for a while. Otherwise, I would have bought that game when it first came out. I played Batman Arkham Asylum, but that's about it. I haven't played any of the other Arkham games. I was thinking also, and you guys in the chat can tell me if this is something you'd be interested in watching me do. If I wanted to, change things up from drawing, or from even instead of playing a video game, I was thinking about getting some old Golden Age comic books and kind of having, I guess for lack of a better term, like a story time with Shono, and we'd go panel by panel, and I'd do the voices, and just read some just bizarre Golden Age comics. To me, that sounds like a lot of fun, but I don't know if that's something you guys would have any interest in. I know there's some podcasts where they want to read it like a story time, but they did basically recaps with Tom versus the Flash. I love that podcast. Hear me do the Medic's voice. See, the only problem with doing something like Team Fortress is that those comics are copyrighted. So that's why I would do Golden Age comics, is because for most Golden Age comics, they're in the public domain. so I wouldn't have to worry about any kind of copyright issues. Plus, Golden Age comics are they're just bonkers. I love them. Like, I know there's a lot of them that are characters that people are well known, and are in the public domain. Like, I'm pretty sure, I could be wrong, but I'm about 95% sure that Shazam, or as he was known, Captain Marvel, I think the original Fawcett Captain Marvel comics are in the public domain. I can see that inspiration. I lost my music. Hold on. Let's get that back. Let's do Horse the Band this time. They're like some other Golden Age characters that I know are in the public domain. And crossbows can be made interesting. But yeah. So like I think Captain Marvel, the Fawcett Comics Captain Marvel's in the public domain. I think I know that Golden Age Blue Beetle's in the public domain. There's some other characters. I know there's some Wally Wood characters that are in the public domain now. So I think it'd be fun to read some of those old Golden Age comics. All right. Well, thanks for stopping by. I'm glad you approve so far. I'm just about done with inking him, so coloring is the next step. So we'll at least get some flat colors in before I'm done with this stream. So, but thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it. Alright, sounds good. Sounds good. I know I've already asked all of you guys who have been watching for a while, but how's everyone doing? Does anyone have a favorite Golden Age comic book character that they'd want me to read a story about? Yeah, I don't know a ton about Golden Age Blue Beetle, but I do know he was a cop that was kind of a I wouldn't say a bad cop, but definitely not a great cop. But he had to change into Blue Beetle to solve the crimes, which always seems funny to me. Why didn't he just use his Blue Beetle abilities, like splash water on myself, use his Blue Beetle abilities just to be a really good cop? Like, it doesn't. It's kind of like an inept cop and then changed into Blue Beetle and then was a super crime fighter. Like, do the super crime fighting as a cop. Maybe I'll do that on a Saturday stream. Or maybe a Tuesday night stream. I might be able to do Captain Marvel. I would have to look. There's an archive of comics in the public domain. So I'll have to see. I am 75% sure the old Fawcett comics Captain Marvels are in the public domain. I'm not 100% sure, but I am pretty confident that they are. But if all those Fawcett Captain Marvels really are in the public domain, I think we can have a lot of fun just having the Adventures of Captain Marvel every, I don't know if I'd want to do it weekly or maybe do it, I don't know, weekly, monthly, occasionally. I think it'd be a lot of fun to go through the adventures of Billy Batson and Captain Marvel. depending on how people like it, what I might be able to even do is, instead of just doing it on a live stream, actually make a production of it, and like record voices and all that stuff, and then just kind of debut it on Twitch. Have like live debuts. Almost done. Man, I didn't realize inking this would take so long. I think we're almost there. Do you have any favorite Golden Age characters, Sideways? Other than, Captain Marvel and Blue Beetle? So I know you're a big Ted Kord fan. I don't know if Ted Kord is in the public domain. I would have to Google it. Some of those Charlton comics with Ted Kord, they might be in the public domain too. Yeah, I would have to see. See, copyright and trademark is a really, funky thing. For instance, we'll use a very easy example, Frankenstein, for instance. Frankenstein is, the book Frankenstein is in the public domain. So if anyone wants to use the character Frankenstein for their stories, or if they just want to reprint the story of Frankenstein, they can, and no one can stop them. And that's all well and good. But then, so if someone does that, and then makes a character, makes a fictional story like I, Frankenstein, for instance, that Universal movie from a while ago that wasn't that good. Frankenstein is still in the public domain, but that version of Frankenstein that was created for the I, Frankenstein movie, that is copyrighted. So I can take, so I can make a story with Frankenstein, but I can't take a story and use the Frankenstein from the I, Frankenstein movie, because that one's copyrighted. So the reason that's complicated is because Ted Kord might be in the public domain from the Charlton comics. But even though Ted Kord might be in the public domain, the Ted Kord comics that are in DC isn't in the public domain. So if I wanted to use a Ted Kord in my own comics, I can't have him have any traits in common with the DC characters, the DC version of Ted Kord. So it would have to be strictly in the Charlton version of Ted Kord. And even then, I probably still couldn't call the comic Blue Beetle, because I'm pretty sure DC has a trademark on Blue Beetle. So with that in mind, so it gets kind of tricky that way. But with all of that said, if the Charlton comics are in the public domain, that means I can read the Charlton comics on stream without DC getting mad, because those comics would be in the public domain. They couldn't say anything about it. I'm sure all of you guys like my TED Talk rambling on copyright and trademarks. That's probably only like mostly true, but I probably got stuff mixed up because I'm focusing on drawing. I probably got some small information mixed up. Yeah, I'll definitely look into it. I don't know exactly how I'll do it, how I'll break up the panels, how things will work. So there's a lot of logistics I have to figure out, but I still think it'll be fun to like read some comics live for everyone. And if everyone likes it, then we can get people in doing voices. I'm sure Seth would lend his voice. And definitely know Lily will. She loves doing voices. Alright, we're almost there. Yeah, it'd be like a radio drama. You're exactly right. I think that'd be a lot of fun. A radio drama with a comic visual to go along with it. Oh man, I don't know if I would have the time to make that a huge production though. To put in like Foley work and stuff like that. It'd be fun. What do you know about doing Foley, Sideways? get things stuff together, and that'd be about it. That's about as much as I know too. Enough, I think. Alright, what do you guys think? So our protagonist and antagonist look pretty good inked here. Did I forget anything? I think I did. Get a little bit of shadow here. So here's a trick that I always do when I'm doing backgrounds. Alright, good. I'm glad you like the inks. So whenever I draw backgrounds, usually perspective is a big deal with it. I need to make sure I have the perspective right, or else it's just not going to work. So instead of having to draw the background twice perfectly in perspective, what I'll do is I'll just draw the inks. I'll actually ink the background straight up. So not only does that save me time for not having to draw and then ink the background again, but it also... Actually, I said that backwards. Not only does it make sure my background is in proper perspective, but then it saves me time. So when I'm inking here, I don't have to go over and ink it again. So I can just switch this blue back to black. There we go. Now we have background all inked in here. And what I'm probably going to do is save myself a little bit of a headache. I'm going to merge all these layers together. Not all of them. I'm going to keep the foreground. Separate from the background, but I think I'm going to combine all the background layers. So we're going to merge all these layers here. But the problem is I had some solid white layers in there, so I'm going to go up here, convert brightness to opacity, and I'll get rid of all the white in there. There we are. let's create color layer. I think good green is going to be for great base color here. A little bit less, more saturation here. Maybe too saturated. That's better. Let's give that a save. And actually, I need to take a really short break, guys. I'll be back in like probably 2 minutes, so hold on real quick. All right. All right, so this is going to be our base color here. So I kind of want everything to have variations of green. Just to kind of keep this palette going here. So what I'm going to do then, to kind of do that, is I'm going to, kind of select the objects that I want to color, a certain color. But I'm not going to, let's say these crates, right? These crates I want to be a brownish color. But I'm not going to just pick brown. I'm kind of going to pick brown. You'll see what I'm going to do here. So I'm going to pick a brownish color that I think really works. Kind of be a little bit more of a reddish brown. And then, instead of just paint bucketing it like this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the opacity here of my paint bucket tool. We'll start with 75%. We'll see how it goes from there. That's a little too strong. So let's go down to 50%. That looks better. So you see how it takes on a brown tint, but still keeps the green that I'm really looking for here. So let's see. Let's keep that going here. So let's say the floor. Floor is probably going to be kind of like guess bluish tint maybe. So pick this kind of lighter, kind of a grayish blue color. Switch to my paint bucket tool. That's still set to 50% opacity. Now, I wanted the floor to be a little bit lighter, so I gotta take that into account, and I didn't. The fact that it's 50% opacity, that's what I'm looking for. Actually, before we do that, actually, no, that's fine. So I find this technique is helpful when you want to keep your piece within a certain color palette, because it's way too easy to kind of think to yourself, this thing's brown, this thing's green, this thing's orange, this thing's, you know, purple, and you color it all those things, and now your piece is just an eyesore. It just hurts. So this kind of helps keep the everything within a certain color palette range, and stops your colors from getting just outrageous. Again, we're just focusing on the background right now. Let's see. I feel like the liquid inside of this vat here should be kind of brightly colored, or not brightly colored, should have kind of a high value, low saturation, kind of close to whitish. But I feel like if I do it too bright, it's going to overwhelm the foreground. So this one we might have to tweak a little bit. I'll put an initial color down, and we might end up changing it as things go. So let's see. I'll move this back down to 50%. Nope. I kind of like the idea if the liquid is still green, but I'm just going to change the hue of green. Make it more of a yellower green. The other reason I'm kind of going with these green tones, not only does it kind of give you that secret lab look, but both these characters have relatively a lot of warm colors. Like the doctor has his shirt off, so he's going to have warm skin tones in there. And whoops, same thing with Sasha. Her pants are kind of a beige color. Her skin is obviously a warm flesh tone. So to kind of offset that, I want to have this kind of greenish tone. Now, if I decide later that the green isn't quite working, I can just kind of go into the hue shift and change it to go more blue or more purple. But for right now, I think green is the way to go. So another time saver if you guys are coloring, notice how I'm not terribly concerned with going up and down the bars again. I've already done that with the light green there, so that when I paint bucket this, it is not going to go in that area, so I can just lasso this whole thing. I might be a little too light. Hold on. Let's bring it down. I think we're getting there. Let's change this to be a little more bluish. See if this color will work. It might be a little too dark. Let's lighten that up a little bit. Not sure if I want that much color in there. That works. What do you guys think? I know this might be a little distracting. Actually, you know what? To stop this from being a little distracting, let's take out the main characters. That looks pretty crummy, doesn't it? Without the main characters in there that anchor the background just looks like an unfinished mess. Let's see. Let's do one more of the same color and then let's change up the hue. It's really important if you don't want your backgrounds or anything that you're coloring to start kind of blending in with it itself. So even if things are similar colors, like, you know, grays, browns, greens, whatever, you want to just vary up the hue a little bit here and there to kind of keep things fresh, keep things from all blending in. But you also, subtlety is also key. If you, like I said a little bit earlier, if you have like a bright orange and then a bright blue and then a bright green, it's just gonna it's gonna be a mess. Obviously you want to avoid a mess. I think what I want to do before I end the stream, because I've already been going 2.5 hours. Okay, so yeah, before we end the stream, I want to at least have this background, all the flats in. So that's my goal for today. Let's see, how do I want to do this? I'm gonna gamble here. Probably not gonna like it, but let's see. It's not bad. I think I'm gonna use that for something else. I think I want it to be a much brighter blue. Maybe not that bright. Yeah, I think that works. I know it looks like I stared off into space for a sec, but I was trying to decide if I liked that. And I think I do. But what I don't want, let's see. Good gray for that. Let's see. Now, all of this is subject to change. I might once I get all the flats in and then get the characters in the foreground colored, I might decide I want to change the hues of certain parts. I might decide that I want it purple instead of green. I'm not 100% sure. Personally, I like the direction this is going, but once I get the foreground characters in, I might shift it. That's the thing, like in your imagination, you might you might see it a certain way, but then once it actually apply it, it might not be exactly what you're wanting or looking for or imagine for that matter. In color theory, once you have a grasp on color theory, you're able to guess at a lot of stuff and be correct, just because you know how color mixes and color propagates, and you'll be able to make reasonable choices that will get exactly what you're looking for. But sometimes it's not exactly right. Or, not that with color theory is not exactly right, but it's not exactly what you're going for. So now they've done that, case in point, I like the way that these green spheres are, but I like how this one sphere is much brighter, so I'm not gonna change the hue. I like the hue, but I'm gonna go in with this light blue and I'm gonna hit it to make it a little bit lighter. That might be a little too much though, now that I've done it. So actually, I'm gonna play with opacity a little bit more, bring the opacity down to 25%. That's closer to what I want. Right. I think that's looking great. What are your guys' thoughts? I know the background looks a little bit of a mess because the foreground is, I took out the foreground so it'd be less distracting. I think this color palette's working pretty strongly. Let's get these tubes in there. I might just leave that brick wall. I just might leave it this color green. I kind of like it that way. So let's get some of these tubes done. I can't wait to see it with the characters either. Oops. Oh, you know what? I don't want that. I forgot to switch my... back to 50% here. this way. Go. That's doing it. Let's do these big pipes here. Dr. Teal here is going to be covering up most of this pipe here. But we're going to throw it in anyway. And the evil doctor here is going to be taking out most of this pipe, so we're not gonna see most of it. It's still worth to draw in at least most of it. And then I think we can probably call it a day after that. I'm not 100% sure if I want to keep that background as green as it is. What I might do is color in the foreground characters, see how it looks, and then adjust it from there. But I have been at this for nearly 3 hours, so I think I'm going to call it done for today, or at least call this stream done for today. Okay, so with that being said, I want to thank everyone who's joined me today. It means a lot for you guys to come and watch me. I'm going to ask you to do all the things that someone like me should ask you to do. You know, follow, subscribe, donate, whatever, all the stuff. I do thank you all for joining me. My next stream is going to be Tuesday. Usually it's a tutorial Tuesday, but I'm not sure what it's going to be today. This week, I might just keep on working on commissions. I've mentioned a couple times I have a convention coming up, so I think I might just work on artwork, get things ready for that, for the convention. I don't know. We'll cross that bar when we get there. How's that bar? I don't know. I need to take a break. So thank you, everyone. I will see you guys on Tuesday, and I really appreciate you guys. So thank you, and I will see you in a few days. Have a great rest of your weekend, and keep on making comics. Even though that's not what I did today. Alright, see you guys. I'm going to switch over here. I'm still very professional at how to open and close these things, can't you tell? Alright, so right before I go, I do want to thank my patrons, because it's the reason why I can keep on making art. So a big thank you to Angers McBeard, Anthony Docimo, Brian Gilbert, Brooke Clayton, Charles Pinn, DevDuck01, Elizabeth, Lawrence Winston, Lily Avonlea, Matt Powell, MC McClure, Quixel, Seth Talley, Shadow Macer, Taylor Renesti, Taylor Timonen, Zerial, Chickadee, and Doug Hogan. You guys are fantastic, and I couldn't do this without you. So, all right, guys, have a great afternoon. Have a great rest of your weekend, and I will see you guys in a few days. Bye.